Chapter 2. The Soil. To obtain an adequate idea of the ground upon which we walk and on which our houses and buildings are erected, you must clear your mind of all mundane conceptions. First of all, we have no roads as they are known on earth. We have broad, extensive thoroughfares in our cities and elsewhere, but they are not paved with a composite substance to give them hardness and durability for the passage of a constant stream of traffic. We have no traffic, and our roads are covered with the thickest and greenest of grass, as soft to the feet as a bed of fresh moss. It is on these that we walk. The grass never grows beyond the condition of being well trimmed, and yet it is living grass. It is always retained at the same serviceable level, perfect to walk upon and perfect in appearance. In such places where smaller paths are desirable, and where grass would seem unsuitable, we have such pavements as are customary in the earth world. But they are constructed of very different materials. The paving is, for the most part, a description of stone, but it is without the usual dull drabness of color. It closely resembles the alabaster-like material of which so many of the buildings are constructed. The colors vary, but they are all of delicate pastel shades. This stone, like the grass, is very pleasant to walk upon, though, naturally, it is not as soft. But there is a certain quality about it, a certain springiness, if one may so term it, something like the resilience of certain earthly timber that is utilized in the making of floors. That is the only way in which I can convey any idea of the difference between earthly stone and spirit stone. There is never, of course, any unsightly discoloration to be observed upon the surface of these stone walks. They always preserve their initial freshness. Often the pavements reveal a network of delightful designs formed by the use of different colored materials, and blending harmoniously with their immediate surroundings. As one approaches the boundaries to the higher realms, the pavements become noticeably more translucent in character, and they seem to lose some of their appearance of solidity, though, indeed, they are solid enough. When one draws near the boundaries of the lower realms, the pavements become heavy in appearance. They begin to lose their color until they look leaden and opaque, and they have the semblance of extreme solidity, almost like the granite of the earth plane. Round about our own individual homes we have lawns and trees and flower beds, with trim garden paths of stone, similar to that which I have just described to you. But of bare earth you would see little or none. Indeed, I cannot call to mind ever having seen any such bare plots, for here there is no neglect through indifference or indolence, or from other causes that are all too familiar to specify. Where we have earned the right to possess our spirit home, we have also within us the constant desire to maintain and improve upon its beauty. And that is not very difficult to accomplish, since beauty responds to, and thrives upon, the appreciation of it. The greater attention and recognition we give to it, so much the greater will be its response, and it assumes to itself still greater beauty. Spirit beauty is no abstract thing, but a real living force. The view from my own home here is one of green fields, of houses of charm pleasantly situated amid woods and gardens, and with a distant view of the city. But nowhere are there to be seen any ugly tracts of bare or barren ground. Every inch that presents itself to the eye is cared for, so that the whole landscape is a riot of color, from the brilliant emerald green of the grass to the multicolored flowers in the gardens, coronated by the blue of the heavenly sky above. It may be wondered, of what is the actual ground composed, in which the flowers and trees are growing? Is it earth of some sort? There is soil, certainly, but it has not the same mineral constituents as that of the earth plane, for it must be understood that life here is derived directly from the great source. The soil varies in color and density in different localities in just the same way as upon the earth plane. I have not investigated it closely, any more than I took particular heed of earthly soil. I can, however, give you some small idea of its appearance and characteristics. Firstly, then, it is perfectly dry. I could detect no trace of moisture. I found that it ran off the hand in much the same way that dry sand will do. Its colors vary in a wide range of tones, but never does it approach the dark, heavy look of earthly soil. In some places it is of fine granular formation, while in others it is composed of much coarser particles, that is, relatively coarser. One of the unexpected properties of this soil is the fact that, while it can be taken into the hand and allowed to run from it smoothly and freely, yet when it is undisturbed it remains fully cohesive, supporting as firmly as the earthly soil all that is growing within it. The color of the earth is governed by the color of whatever botanic life it supports. And here again there is no special significance, no deep symbolical reason for this particular order of things. It is simply that the color of the soil is complementary to the color of the flowers and trees, and the result, which could not be otherwise, is that of inspiring harmony, harmony to the eye, harmony to the mind, and the most soothing musical harmony to the ear. What better reason could there be? And what simpler? Assuredly, this world of spirit is not made up of a bewildering series of profound and complex mysteries, explicable only to the few. There are mysteries, certainly, just as there are upon the earth plane. And just as there are great brains upon the earth plane who can solve those mysteries, so here there are greater brains still, immeasurably greater, who can provide an explanation when our intellects are ready to receive it and understand it. But there are many people in the earth world who earnestly believe that we in spirit live in a continual state of perfervid religious emotion, that every concomitant of spirit life, every form and degree of personal activity, every atom of which the great world of spirit is composed, must have some pious, devotional signification. Such a stupid notion is wide, very wide of the mark. Search through the earth world, and do you find any such unnatural ideas attached to the multiplicity of life that lies within it? There is no religious import in a beautiful earthly sunset. Why should our spirit flowers, to take one instance among many, have any other reason for their existence than that which I have already given you, namely, a magnificent gift to us all from the Father of us all for our greater happiness and enjoyment? There are still many, many souls on earth who solemnly uphold it as an article of faith that paradise, as they call it, will be one long interminable round of singing, psalms and hymns and spiritual canticles. Nothing could be more fantastic. The spirit world is a world of activity, not indolence, a world of usefulness, not uselessness. Nothing in the spirit world is useless, there is a sound reason and purpose for everything. Neither the reason nor the purpose may be plain to everyone at first, but that does not alter the truth of the matter. Boredom can find no place here as a general state of affairs. People have been known to become bored, but that very boredom begets their first step, or their next step, in spiritual progression through their engaging in some useful work. There are myriads of tasks to be performed, and myriads of souls to perform them, but there is always room for one more, and it will ever be so. Am I not living in a world that is both unlimited and illimitable? We do not inhabit a land that bears all the outward marks of an eternal Sunday. Indeed, Sunday has no place, no existence even, in the great scheme of the spirit world. We have no need to be forcibly reminded of the great Father of the universe, by setting aside one day to him, and forgetting him for the rest of the week. We have no week. With us it is eternal day, and our minds are fully and perpetually conscious of him, so that we can see his hand and his mind in everything that surrounds us. I have deviated a little from what I set out to tell you, but it is expedient to emphasize certain features of my narrative, because so many souls of the earth world are almost shocked to be told that the spirit world is a solid world, a substantial world, with real, live people in it. They think that that is far too material, far too like the earth world, hardly, in fact, one step removed from it, with its spirit landscape and sunshine, its houses and buildings, its rivers and lakes, inhabited by sentient, intelligent beings. This is no land of eternal rest. There is rest in abundance for those who need it. But when the rest has restored them to full vigor and health, the urge to perform some sensible, useful task rises up within them, and opportunities abound. To return to the particular characteristics of spirit soil. As we approach the dark regions, the soil, such as I have described to you, loses its granular quality and its color. It becomes thick, heavy, and moist, until it finally gives place entirely to stones, and then rock. Whatever grass there is, looks yellow and seared. As we draw closer to the higher realms, the particles of the soil become finer, the colors more delicate, with a hint of translucency. A greater degree of resilience is at once observable underfoot when walking upon the thresholds of these higher realms, but the resilience comes as well from the nature of the realm as from the distinct change in the ground. On close examination, the fine soil reveals almost jewel-like qualities both of color and form. The particles are never misshapen, but conform to a definite geometric plan. Ruth and I plunged our hands into some of the soil and allowed it to trickle through our fingers in a gentle stream. As it descended, there issued from it the sweetest musical tones, as though it were falling upon some tiny musical instrument and causing the keys to produce a ripple of sound. A keen ear will hear many musical sounds upon the earthly seashore as the water sweeps back and forth over the beach, but no keen ear is necessary to hear the rich harmonics when the ground of the spirit world is made to speak and sing. The sounds emitted in this way vary, as much as the color and elements themselves vary. They are there for all to hear, and they can be produced at will, by the very simple action I have described. How is this brought about, you will ask? Color and sound, that is, musical sound, are interchangeable terms in the spirit world. To perform some act that will produce color is also to produce a musical sound. To play upon a musical instrument, or to sing, is to create color, and each creation is governed and limited by the skill and proficiency of the instrumentalist or singer. A master musician, as he plays upon his instrument, will build above himself a most beautiful musical thought form, varying in its colors and blends of shade in strict accordance with the music he plays. A singer can create a similar effect in relation to the purity of the voice and the quality of the music. The thought form thus erected will not be very large. It is a form in miniature. But a large orchestra or body of singers will construct an immense form, governed, of course, by the same law. The musical thought form produces no sound itself. It is the result of sound, and is, as it were, a self-contained unit. Although music will bring forth color, and color will yield music, each is restricted to the one resultant form. They will not go on reproducing each other in a constant, unending, or gradually diminishing, alternation of color and sound. It must not be thought that with all the vast galaxy of colors from the hundreds of sources in the spirit world, our ears are being constantly assailed with the sounds of music, that we are living, in fact, in an eternity of music that is sounding and resounding without remission. There are few minds, if any, that could possibly endure such a continuous plethora of sound, however beautiful it may be. We should sigh for peace and quietness, our heaven would cease to be heaven. No, the music is there, but we please ourselves entirely whether we wish to hear it or listen to it. We can completely isolate ourselves from all sound, or we can throw ourselves open to all sound, or just hear that which pleases us most. There are times upon the earth plane when you can hear the strains of distant music without being in any way disturbed by it. On the contrary, you may find it very pleasant and soothing. So it is with us here in spirit. But there is this great difference between our two worlds. Our potentialities for music of the highest order are immeasurably greater than are yours upon the earth plane. The mind of a spirit person who has a deep love of music will naturally hear more, because he so wishes, than one who cares little for it. To revert to the experiment that Ruth and I carried out when we let the soil run through our fingers. We both of us derive great enjoyment from listening to music, Ruth much more so than myself, since she has been trained in the musical art and therefore has a higher appreciation and grasp of musical technicalities. I have told you how, the instant the soil left our hands, we could hear the delightful sounds issuing from it. Another person performing the same action, but who possessed no particular musical susceptibilities, would scarcely be conscious of any sound at all. The flowers and all growing things respond immediately to those who love them and appreciate them. The music that they send out operates under precisely the same law. An attunement upon the part of the percipient, with that with which he comes into contact or relationship, is a prerequisite condition. Without that attunement it would be impossible to be conscious of the musical strains that issue forth from the whole of spirit nature. By spirit nature I mean, of course, all the growing things, the sea and lakes, indeed, all water, the soil, and the rest. The greater the power of the individual of appreciating and understanding beauty in all its multifarious forms, the greater will be the outflowing of magnetic force. In the spirit world nothing is wasted nor expended uselessly. We never have forced upon us something that we do not want, whether it be music or art, entertainment or learning. We are free agents, in every sense of the term, within the confines of our own realm. It would be a most terrifying thought to imagine that the spirit world is one immense pandemonium of music, continuing ceaselessly, totally unavoidable, presenting itself on every conceivable occasion and in every possible place and situation. No. The spirit world is conducted on much better lines than that. The musical sounds are most certainly there, but it rests solely with ourselves whether we shall hear them or not. And the secret is personal attunement. There are people upon the earth plane who possess the ability of mentally isolating themselves from their surroundings, to such a degree, that they can become oblivious to all sounds, however intense, that might be going on around them. This state of complete mental detachment will serve as an analogy, though a rather elementary one, of the effect that we can produce upon ourselves in spirit, to the exclusion of such sounds as we have no wish to hear. Unlike the earth world, we do not need to bring to bear any great force of concentration. It is but another process of thought, just as we use our minds to effect personal locomotion, and after a brief sojourn in spirit we are soon able to perform these various mental functions without any conscious effort. They are part of our very nature, and we are merely applying, in an extended form, without earthly limitations and restrictions, mental methods that are perfectly simple to apply. On the earth plane, our physical bodies, in a heavy physical world, prevented similar mental processes from producing any physical result. In the spirit world, we are free and unfettered, and those actions of the mind show an instant and direct result, whether it be to move us with the quickness of our thought, or whether it be to shut out any sight or sound that we do not wish to experience. On the other hand, we can, and do, open our minds and attune ourselves to absorb the many glorious sounds that come rising up all round us. We can open our minds, or close then, to the many delectable perfumes that spirit nature casts abroad for our happiness and contentment. They act like a tonic upon the mind, but they are not forced upon us, we merely help ourselves to them as we wish. It must ever be borne in mind that the spirit lands are founded upon law and order. But the law is never oppressive, nor the order irksome, because the same law and order have helped to provide all the countless beauties and wonders of this heavenly realm.